In this video, I want to show you a complete lighting workflow from layout to schedules to a finished lighting pack ready to share. This is the end result, a clear lighting plan, fixture schedules, and a presentation ready document. The goal here isn't just to draw lights on a plan, it's to build a repeatable workflow that you can apply to any project. I'll be demonstrating everything inside Rayon Design. If you'd like to follow along, there's a free Rayon account in the link in the description. Let's start with the lighting layout. A good lighting plan communicates fixtures, locations, lighting functions, and sockets and circuits. And from an architect's perspective, we want to make sure the lighting locations work and coordinate with the layouts. So this floor plan has quite a logical and clear grid structure. And so we want to make sure the lighting plan follows suit and follows that structure. So what we're going to do is we're going to start pulling in some lighting fixtures from the block library. Now we can do that if we head over to the left-hand side here. And this is where all of this furniture, everything that's basically been shown in these floor plans, from furniture, from people, from cars, from plants, they've all been imported from this block library. In this case, we want to pull in some lighting fixtures. Like you see here, we've got two-way switches, we've got on and off switches, we've got spotlights, we've got standard lights, we've got emergency lights. Pretty much all the symbols you could think of that you would need for lighting is in this library. So then we want to create a new layer called light, which is where all of these fixtures are going to be and symbols are going to be located. And the first thing that we're going to do is actually start masking out some of these rooms, because currently if you start drawing some lighting fixtures, they're gonna read too softly in the floor plan. And so what we're going to do is we're going to basically mask the rooms with a white fill. So using the rectangle tool, we're going to fill that white, and then we're going to drop the opacity down maybe to 50% and remove the stroke. And then we can do the same across our floor plan. We're just going to do the same here. We're going to mask that white. We're going to save that as a style, so you can save this as a style to implement across your drawing. We're going to save that as a light fill. We're going to pick that style and apply it across the drawing. Now this will give us the base for our floor plan. This will mean that now the lighting fixtures and symbols will be shown properly on the plan. Now I'm going to use this recessed ceiling light block in the plan, and you can see you just pull it into place, drop it into place. Now we're going to start with this corridor, and what's really important with the lighting plan is to make sure that it's centralized and that it follows some kind of logic in terms of clear spacing, repeated spacing. We don't want lights kind of floating here, there and everywhere. You want to make sure it follows some kind of grid and some language. And so what I'm going to draw here is I'm going to create a centerpiece to this corridor. This will mark almost like an anchor where these symbols are going to follow. So this will basically make sure that the lighting fixtures are evenly placed out across this corridor and that they're following a bit of a grid structure. And you can see here now, we can do that in the other rooms as well. So we want to centralize it to the rooms. In some cases, we can pull them off central slightly, depending on where certain pieces of furniture are. And so we're generating quite a clear and logical grid structure, and make sure the fixtures are located in the right locations where we want to illuminate certain elements. And we can do the same across all of these bedrooms, trying to centralize them as best as we can. In this case, in this room, we've pulled it off center ever so slightly, just because it makes more sense for lighting to also be over towards the wardrobes. In the bathrooms, we've pulled it off center slightly as well. And you can see here across the bedrooms, we've got a variety of different lights. For example, here we've got wall mounted lights above the bed on either side of the bed, which works quite nicely. And when we move over to the living and kitchen space, we've got spotlights along the circulation spaces. We've got spotlights above the kind of laundry spaces. And then also we've got a different type of light, which is going to illuminate the cooker and the oven space with all of the worktops. So we've applied a few more lights in those areas. And so it's really important about arranging the light system that not only follows the kind of grid and the language of the floor plan, but also, once again, illuminates the right areas with the right types of fixtures. Now the next move is going to be start pulling in some switches. So where we're going to locate some of the switches, and thinking of a design logic of where the switches are going to be good locations for example, upon entries, a good location for when you enter a circulation space, for example, and we can then start adjusting and playing with some of the locations of those fixtures. And then the next important move is then going to be linking those fixtures together. So we want to link the fixtures with the on and off switch. And so we can do that by simply drawing a polyline. And so by drawing a polyline, we're going to create a bit of a kind of curve. So we can head down to our arc here. We're going to select one point, another point, and we're just going to arc it ever so slightly to indicate that relationship where they're kind of, these lighting systems are linking, where they're combining, and we can then basically copy these elements across the floor plan and start indicating where all of these elements are linked. For example, this stream of lights in the corridor are all going to be linked, and we can then link it to its switch to make it quite clear that it has that association with the switch. Now this is really important from an annotation perspective, from a lighting plan, to once again indicate that relationship between the switches and the fixtures. And by working across the floor plan, we now have a lighting plan here that's indicating those relationships and a kind of system and logic for the lighting. So Rayon's block library includes standardized lighting symbols, which keeps the drawings consistent and readable. From there, we refine graphic clarity. So the next move in building this lighting plan is going to be adding a design language. So at this point, the black reads quite strongly in the drawing, and we probably want to make it a little bit more subtle. And also at the moment, I'm kind of reading very strongly the kind of links between the fixtures, all of the cabling, whereas we want to make those a little bit softer. We could also continue the kind of graphic style of the orange with the orange annotations, and we can rework that in to these annotations here. So what we want to do is select one of these cables, we select this element, head to the right hand side, we'll go to the style panel, then we can choose stroke, and we're going to choose the orange that we've been applying to the rest of the drawing. And we're going to also add a dash and drop the opacity down ever so slightly so it doesn't read as strong on the drawing, so it's not as strong as a focal point. We can then create a style out of that, so we're going to then save that as a orange cabling, which we can select this cable, we can do pick style, and then we can choose that style that we're after. And now the cabling is not so dominant of a feature on the drawing, it's now a secondary element. We can double click into this block, we can select this element, and you'll notice that you can then change some of the styles that are associated with that block. In this case, normally when you import a block into your drawing from the block library, there will be styles that are applied to certain line weights, for example, that are then associated across each block. So in this case here, you can see this fixture line. We can then adjust that fixture line to orange. And now fortunately, this will also apply across all of the other blocks associated in this drawing. So we're going to increase the thickness ever so slightly to 0.1. And you can see here now that it's applied it across all of the other elements in the drawing, which is really useful because you can see here that the fixture line is also applied to those blocks. Now this is the power of using styles in Rayon, is that they're all linked, they're connected, so that if you change one element, it will change all of them, so you don't have to go through them and do it one by one. But now the kind of graphic style is consistent and follows suit across the drawing. It lines up now with the kind of annotation style. It doesn't read as strongly in the drawing, but it still is a focal point to the drawing, so we can read and understand what's going on. Then if you wanted to build a legend that will just help as almost a key to your drawing, you can select all of the elements here, you can right click and group, and that's a really simple way of basically just building a group. And then you can also change some of the graphics of those features. We can click into it, we can then change that to orange. And what matters here is clear hierarchy. The lighting information needs to stand out without overwhelming the base plan. Instead of redrawing common lighting details from scratch, I'll open Rayon's free lighting detail template. Beyond that, you can create your own templates, building a library of details across projects that you can copy, paste, and adapt on the go, keeping your team aligned and working more efficiently. You will also have access to all these details in the link in the description. So I have those construction details located over here in a model canvas. So we've got it here. But you can see we've got different options of details. We've got a few larger scale details, a few kind of more details of ceilings, wall build-ups, floor finishes, and then also some window head details, etc. That we could then basically use as part of our presentation. Now the one that I want to use specifically is this ceiling light detail. Now this is really useful if you've kind of built a model canvas of details that you can then copy across and refer to in your presentations. So you can click copy, And then you can paste that across then into your model canvas, so then it lives there. So if you did ever want to use any of these construction details, you can just copy it across. And the reason why we're copying these across is because we want to reuse and standardize details, which saves time and ensures consistency across projects. And now I'll organize the plan and details into dedicated sheets. So I'm going to start building a presentation using paper canvases. So we've been creating all of our drawings in a model canvas. We're now going to create a paper canvas. We're going to click create page. We're then going to head to our formats. We're going to change that to maybe an A3. You can then adjust and scale it as you please and customize it. You can also change the orientation if you wish, but we're just going to keep this at A3 for now. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create a viewport into our model canvas. So if you click view, we're going to head down to our floor plan, and you can see here now you can change the scale. So it'll come in as a scale, but you can then change the scale as you wish. So we're going to drop this down to maybe 1 to 200. We could crop that in like so. So you can just pull that into place and make sure you're showing what you want to show. We can then position that onto the page. Now the next move will be to bring in a title block, which would then just create a bit more of a professional presentation. So if you head to the block library, we're going to head down to title blocks and annotations. You can then find a title block that you want to pull in. And you can see here, then you can select into that title block. You can change some elements. You can kind of rework it if you wish. You can change some of the colors if you'd like, change the drawing number. So they're all elements that you can adjust and amend and kind of make it bespoke to your project. And a particular title block that I do like to use is this one here. It's a vertical title block, which I've customized to this specific project. So we called it the Ranch House Architecture Project. Then create another view, maybe add in then our key plan and legend. So we can then scale this down to our legend. We can then have that in place alongside our drawing. Then all of a sudden we then have a drawing alongside our legend, and we can add a maybe title to the page. We can add some text, which will really help just add some detail and the correct information that we need to show on our floor plans. And then if you zoom out, you can see here now we've got two pages side by side, one with the floor plan and the legend, the other with our construction details and some images. So you can see here that we've used the same title block across the pages for consistency. And you can see here that when you click these views, they've got a viewport into the construction details model canvas. And then you've got the scale at 1 to 4. So now we have these two drawings living side by side, which clearly now presents the lighting plan with the legend, with the details, and with some examples of those lights through showing those images with a bit of annotation as well. And this already starts to look like a professional lighting package. To accompany the layout, we need to manage and present the fixture data. And the way that this works in Rayon is that each lighting fixture can hold its own metadata, and this will then show in tables. Now, if we come back into our model canvas and select a block, you can head down to the bottom right corner and you can see that we've got custom properties. Now you can see here that you've got various different properties assigned to that block. You've got categories, you've got price, you've got image, you've got material, you've got links, etc. And you can turn different elements on and off by adding various different properties. And in this case, we're going to add a new property, and you can then change a number, length, area, volume, if you want to add any property as part of your fixture. So in this case, we're going to apply a fixture size. We could then say that this fixture size is, so let's say 10 centimeters, for example. We can then change the category to lighting, we change the price, we can change the material, for example, and we can then go across our floor plan and start applying this metadata to each type of light. And this is really important when you've got lots of different types of lights and you want to apply metadata to them. And the idea of this is that instead of tracking this separately in spreadsheets, the information lives directly with the fixture. It's directly associated with the fixture. And so using this data applied to the fixtures, we want to now generate a lighting schedule. So to pull this data out of the floor plan, we're going to head to the left hand side here. We can go to tables, and then we're just going to make a new table. So you'll notice that when you create a new table, it will basically have everything in there. It has walls, it has zones, it has blocks, and you want to go to categories and just make sure you have only block instance turned on. Now we can add a column called categories, for example, and you can see here that you've got all the different types of categories. Now what's really important here is that then we want to filter out the lighting category. So if you click this drop down here, we go to edit filter, we then do equals, and then we're going to type in lighting, and you'll see here now that will filter out all of the different lights. So we have 67 items across the floor plan, and then we can add image. We can then add various different items such as material. We can then add, let's say, the price, and then we're starting to build a table with all of the information attached. And the beauty of these tables is that if you then head back into your model canvas, if you make any changes and update any of the data, for example, we're going to update this to 250, you'll see that it updates then in your table. We could then group by, let's say, brand, for example. So we now have all the Light Fixtures USA brand associated in this table. We can then also add a new property called maybe quantity, so we can identify how many quantities of that particular type we need. You can see here now that when we go full screen, you can see that we have that quantity associated with that type. And this is live and synced, so if something changes in the drawing, the schedule updates automatically. To make the schedule more visual and understandable, especially for clients who want a record of schedules and image references, you can create a visual legend. So we're just going to jump into Light Fixtures USA, the website. We're going to try and find a light. This light's pretty cool. So we're going to take this chandelier. We're going to save this image and pull it into Rayon to apply it to one of the fixtures. You then have different options of how you can potentially start customizing this image. A really useful option is to remove the background, and then you can change the contrast, exposure and saturation as you wish. You can customize it slightly further, and we can do exactly the same with another fixture that you find. You can pull that in, remove the background once again, and then we now have two images without the background. And then if we wanted to apply that image to a particular fixture, we can select the element, we can click plus in the properties, we can then add image, then select the image that we're looking for, click open, and it will then have that image associated to it. And then we can also add a link. So if you find that particular product that you want to then link to, you can then copy that link across. We're then going to paste that in to our link, and then you can see here that we have an image and link associated to it. And this is really useful for building that visual schedule. So you can see quite clearly the image of the particular fixture, so a client can visualize it, but also they can access it through the link. And you can compose those elements and images and mood boards as part of a presentation, bringing it into your paper canvas, creating views and dropping your tables into your presentation. So now you've added further detail and information to those presentation slides with various references and various different types of fixtures that are now associated with your floor plan. So all of a sudden you have a coherent 4-page presentation which has your floor plan with the fixtures and legend. You then have a schedule, a visual schedule with then a bit of a mood board and some particular products that you're looking at. And this is really powerful for presenting those lighting strategies. The final step is issuing the presentation. You can do this by either exporting the presentation as a PDF or sharing a link to a live presentation. You can head to the top right corner where you've got the share button at the top. You then have options of sharing libraries, templates, the presentation itself, but you can also invite team members to work on the presentation itself. So we're going to invite Joe Bloggs into the presentation. You can then have Joe Bloggs working in the presentation with you, as you can see here live, and they can also add comments and drop notes on the presentation and work into the presentation together. So it becomes collaborative and it becomes a collaborative process. Now to export as a PDF, you can head to the top left corner, we'll go export. We're then just going to do export all pages. Now here you can also manage then how you want to export it. Do you want to export it as a PDF, a PNG? Do you want to export all pages or just a range? In this case here, we have the full kind of presentation, as you can see here, that I'm flicking through. But in reality, we want to just export a range. So if we do a range of pages, and you can see here when you export the presentation, the line weights are really clear and crisp as part of your presentation. And you can see here quite clearly that the lighting strategy and system is the strong element in the drawing. Because everything lives in one connected environment, the lighting pack stays accurate through revisions. No broken spreadsheets, no mismatched counts, no version confusion. Lighting plans are often fragmented, layout in one place, schedules in another, details somewhere else. But when drafting in Rayon, data and presentations are connected, the workflow becomes more efficient. This is what I mean by a complete lighting workflow, from layout to schedule to client-ready documentation. If you'd like to explore this template or try this workflow for yourself, there's a link in the description for you to create your free Rayon account. Thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.